Hey, I'm Nendo12, and yeah, sorry about missing 2 weeks. I've been really busy, haven't gotten around to it, but I'm going to be getting 2 videos up to today. So, yeah, and I'm gonna try to get another 2 videos up next week, but I might only have time for one, so I'll just see how it goes. Uh, But yeah, so last week, for those of you who saw last week's video, all 3 of you, um, you might have noticed how the title changed. It originally, it was originally just a Disney argument, whether or not Disney was doing more good or bad. Not to give away the ending to those of you who haven't watched it, but it's bad. They've done a lot more harm than they have good. And I'm not going to explain it again. If you want to know why I think that, watch the last video. So, about a few days after I put that video up, I thought to myself, well, I didn't get through all the material I was hoping to. So, I decided, what the heck, I'll make it a special. Put it into 2, maybe 3 parts. So that's what I'm bringing you today. Parts 2 and 3 of the Disney special. So, we've gotten the argument down. Is Disney doing more harm than they are good? Harm. Part 2, this part is going to be looking at the history of Disney. The different movies that have come out throughout Disney history. Look at all of the best Disney movies. All the ones that were like extremely popular back when they first came out. Some of them weren't very popular but are starting to get popular now, but I'm not going to include too many of those. So part 3 is going to be me reviewing what I consider to be the greatest Disney movie of all time. Whether it be regular Disney, Pixar, Studio Ghibli, or anything else involving Disney. So, yeah. So, let's not waste any time. Let's get started. So, Disney's first big hit was obviously Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which, to be honest, I never really liked. To me, that story was not about Snow White. It was not about the title character. For me, the story was about the dwarves. That's it. The dwarves. Anything having to do with the dwarves, well, let me rephrase that. Anything having to do with Dopey or Grumpy, I was excited to see. Because those were the 2 dwarves that they focused on, mainly. They didn't really focus on any other dwarves. I mean, sure, Doc seemed like the leader, but, I mean, they didn't focus on him. They focused on Grumpy and Dopey. So, Snow White was, like, really bland, boring. I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, I guess some people could say that she was a fairly nice-looking character. To me, not really. No, I've seen a lot better. A lot better. But, yeah, the movie was about dwarves. Without a doubt. The movie had to have been about the dwarves. Because, I mean, you barely see the prince. You barely see the prince, and by the time you do, he kisses Snow White, and then, boom, they live happily ever after. That's it. Um, I just, yeah. Um, Another big hit, as some of you can probably imagine, were a few other big hits were Aladdin and Bambi, uh, Cinderella. That's kind of debatable whether it was a hit or not. Some people liked it, others didn't. I personally didn't really care, and I could never really get into it, mainly because the villain totally just, I don't know, she's just too villainous. And I like a good villain. I love a good villain. I'm the one who roots for the villains. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody has to root for the bad guys, and that's me. I root for the bad guys. I want the bad guy to win for once. It's always good times over evil. Always. And you know what? That gets boring. That's a cliche we've seen in every single movie. I just want for once that the bad guy is the one who wins. Just to see how that would go. I want to see how that would go. What they would do after they defeat the villain. After they defeat the good guy. What would they do afterwards? Did they even plan that far ahead? It would be hilarious to see a movie where the bad guy defeats the good guy and doesn't know what to do. Like, take DreamWorks' Megamind. That was actually pretty good, except for the fact that he ended up the villain turned good at the end. But I mean, it's still pretty believable. I mean, if the good guy's gone, then the bad guy's nobody to fight. So it makes sense that he would get bored of being the bad guy. But, yeah. So Cinderella, I couldn't get into it. I couldn't. Bambi, the one part I remember from that movie, I haven't seen it in years, and the one part I do remember from it was, of course, Bambi's mom being shot. That scene alone just traumatized me. I had to go through hours of crying after I saw that. That was just devastating. That just destroyed me. And I will admit, that's pretty impressive. Not a lot of movies, or pretty much almost nothing can make me cry. And so for a Disney movie, let alone a Disney movie about deer, for something like that to make me cry that much, wow, props. I'll give you points. That was actually pretty impressive. Aladdin. I want to say it was the first Disney movie for boys, but then again, there were a couple Disney films that came out before that seemed more for boys than girls. But I'm not going to go into them, mainly because not a whole lot of people know them. Aladdin, to be honest, it was actually one of my favorite movies growing up. Mainly because of Robin Williams. He was just amazing in that movie. That was one of his best roles as the genie. That and Mrs. Doubtfire. You cannot go wrong with Mrs. Doubtfire. That was drop dead hilarious. At least it used to be. I can't speak for how funny it is now, because I haven't seen it in years. Little Mermaid. I really don't like this movie. I really don't. I mean, Ariel, yeah, she was pretty hot as far as women in Disney movies go. She looks pretty good, but She sold her soul for a vagina. What? Who does that? Who would sell their soul just for a pair of legs and a vagina? Apparently Ariel would. Yeah, I hate that. I mean, a simple story about um, a woman going up to the surface and like maybe being able to like walk on land for a day or so. That'd be fine. But then she would have to go back and she would have adventures under the sea. That would be better. Don't have the 3-day romance. We've seen that too many times. Just have her go up to the surface, explore a bit, come back to the ocean, have a big, giant adventure under the ocean. That would have been a whole lot better. Because there's so much about the ocean that we humans don't understand. We know a lot of stuff about the ocean, but we don't know all. Heck, we don't even know all the different kinds of fish there are. There are some types of fish that are so deep under the ocean, we can't get to them. And science and people who go out to sea all the time, it said that the shark whale is the largest creature in the ocean. But how do we know that for sure? There are creatures down at the bottom of the sea that we've never even seen before. So as far as we know, there could be one twice the size of a shark whale. It just seems kind of out of place. Oh, but I'm starting to run out of time. Jeez, fucking rambling on. So after a while, Disney started to go downhill. And that's when Pixar came around and created Toy Story, and A Bug's Life, and just all these other amazing movies. And Pixar, most of them are good, with a couple exceptions, such as Cars 2. The first Cars movie was okay, I guess. Ratatouille. And, they're also making another movie called Planes. So, Cars, Planes, next will be submarines, go-karts, and then bicycles. Bicycle, bicycle. Go Beatles. Yeah. So, Pixar kind of succeeded where Disney couldn't. But after a while, Disney finally started making good films. A lot of their newer releases are pretty good. Like, The Princess and the Frog and Twisted. I think I said that right. Yeah. So, I mean, Twisted had a good story. I liked how they actually went and explained why her hair was so long in the first place. But did it have good characters? Not really, no. I didn't care for the characters. Princess and the Frog. Terrible story. I did not like the story, but it had amazing characters. Why didn't they put those two together? I mean, that would have been amazing. I would have loved that. Yeah, so a lot of the newer releases of Disney are starting to get better, but some are still just crap. And, yeah, so occasionally there's going to be a good Disney movie, but for the most part you can always find something terrible in it, or a cliche that has been overused so much that we're sick to death of it and it just ruins the rest of the movie. That's what most Disney movies have. Now occasionally you'll have one that rises above the rest, but that's rare. The things that hold it back, the things that hold Disney movies back, really hold them back. Like the 3-day romance, the killing off family members. Yeah, again, Disney's violent. I don't want to go to Disney World. Dreams come true? Yeah, if your dream is to kill off your family members, sure. But yeah, so a lot of their movies aren't too good. Like, Dumbo. I did not like that movie. It was just, it's an instruction manual on how to fly, and it doesn't even do that right. That's what it's supposed to be, an instruction manual on how to fly, and it doesn't even do that right. There's that, and then there's, other things like, Pinocchio, 101 Dalmatians, Peter Pan, and countless Disney sequels. Disney, you used to be a good company. But that was back when Walt was alive. When Walt was alive, those movies were good. And then a few of them afterwards were still good. But you cannot continue doing the same stuff you always do. Mix it up a bit. I mean, for God's sakes. Is it really so hard to mix it up a bit, create something new and unexpected that your fans aren't used to seeing? We would love that. We would love to see something new that hasn't already been done a bajillion times before. Please, do that. Even if it sucks, it's still going to be better than what you have been doing. Do something new. So yeah. So I am off to go see Wreck-It Ralph. I just feel obligated to watch it. So I will be getting my next video up as soon as I'm finished watching it. So, see ya. I'm Nendo12, and if you can name it, I can review it.